Buddy, I have to say it's a great honour for me to talk to you today. I've been a fan of yours for many years, in fact more years than I care to know.
Me too.
How does Buddy Greco, as a pure jazz musician, a pianist and a singer, move through the last 30 or 40 years of such huge changes in music? How do you stay on the top? How does that happen?
Well, the thing that I decided to do, Chris, a long time ago is that I decided not to go with whatever was happening at that time. I've always been like most of my contemporaries, Mr. Sinatra and Tony Bennett and so on. I've always believed in myself as a singer and as an actor and as a jazz musician. And the proof is that, you know, I travel all over the world, Chris, and I would go into clubs and find people doing a lot of my stuff.
Yes.
Which means I must be doing something right.
Something right, yeah.
I've even though they may not have seen me in a film or a movie lately or on TV, I always work. My career has always done well. In the past 2 years, as you know, there's been such an explosion of jazz all over the world.
Yeah. People are moving back to cerebral music.
Absolutely. They want to know beautiful lyrics and beautiful songs. I mean, there's a lot of wonderful new songs too, a lot of great new singers around today. But what's happening is that now they're all turning around and doing our stuff, things that I've been doing, Tony Bennett and Sinatra's been doing for years and years. And all of a sudden, I have a whole new career. I mean, look at Tony Bennett. Tony at 67 years old just won a Grammy.
Yes.
So
wonderful.
Mel Torme and I and all of us, all of a sudden, our careers are exploding.
They're exploding. Well, a case in point, of course, is Linda Ronstadt.
Exactly. Well, she started it, as you know.
She started it, yeah.
And then Harry Connick started to do my stuff and things like that, and which is a compliment. I appreciate that. And all of a sudden, the kids, you know, they're 20-year-old kids watching and listening to Buddy Greco and Mel Torme and Joe Williams and you know people like that.
Yeah, wonderful names.
It's great. Yeah, it's wonderful.
What does Buddy Greco do when he's not singing and playing jazz?
You can find him on the nearest golf course.
Golfer.
Yeah, I play a lot of golf.
Yeah. Just getting back to music for a moment, you've come out with a new album, and that's what this world tour is all about.
Yes,
we'll talk about that in a moment.
Yes.
But you based it on a very unusual thing. It's Buddy Greco sings
Nat King Cole.
Nat King Cole. Well,
my dearest friend in the whole world was Nat King Cole. I met Nat, I think, in the early 50s when I was working the lounge at the Sands Hotel in Las Vegas. And of course, he was in the big room and packing them in. But our lives have paralleled so much. I had a trio, he had a trio. He made it as a singer, I made it as a singer. But he really is
having been piano players.
Right. Yeah. He really is was a jazz piano player. I'm a jazz piano player.
Yeah.
We both have perfect pitch.
Yes.
And we just became instant friends. In fact, I was with him the night that Natalie was born, and I've done 63 albums, everything from symphonies to country and western. But I've always wanted to do a tribute to Nat King Cole.
Yeah.
And we just came out with a new CD called Route 66, a personal tribute to Nat King Cole from Buddy Greco, and I'm absolutely thrilled that we've done it. It's great.
You're touring to promote the album, obviously, for live appearances. You're touring in Australia.
We're touring all over Australia.
What does the show comprise?
Well, I've got to do a lot of my hits. You know, I've got to do Ladies of Tramp and The More I See You and MacArthur Park and so on.
Ain't She Pretty?
Ain't She Pretty?
Yeah.
Why did you mention that one, Chris? That one has kind of a little thing for me. I sold 1 million records and made $30, you know, so I did, true story. But it's basically, we tied it in together, the tour with the CD, and the tour's been phenomenal. I mean, we've been here for 3 weeks. We got another maybe 10 days to go. We finish in Sydney. And I was here last October, and I fell in love with this place. I love it here.
Now, you're touring with Leslie.
Leslie is my fiancée, Leslie Anders, who's 5'10", gorgeous blonde, and sings like Peggy Lee. And I just produced an album of hers.
Yeah.
And Leslie does the first half, and then I do the second half, and then we close the show together.
That's wonderful.
It's really a lot of fun.
That sounds great. Now, I have to ask you this question because every Australian interviewer asks every overseas visitor this question. How do you like Australia, Buddy?
Well, I've been here 8 times.
Have you? So you know it.
Oh, I've got many friends here. I love coming back here.
Yeah.
I really do. I'd like to, you know, at one point I came back like every year, you know, in the late 60s, early 70s. And then I didn't come back for a while. I wasn't recording and so on. But I want to come back often as they want me.
Has there been any time in your career when you've actually moved away from music? When your musical involvement
No.
has eased off?
No.
You've always...
The only, as far as going away from what I do as far as nightclubs and you know, things like that, I've gotten very involved with my partner who writes for The Simpsons, and he's a big arranger. His name is Alf Clausen. I'm now starting to write for films, which is really something that quite a challenge, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Scoring for films.
Scoring for films, and maybe acting in the movie, why not?
It's a very demanding thing.
Yeah.
Well, of course, there's another thing. I mean, part of your career has been not playing music, not only playing music on television and movies, but working as an actor.
As an actor, yes, I've done quite a few.
What are some of the movies we've seen you in?
You probably never heard of them. I've done about 3 of them, which they show back in America like once a week.
Right.
You know, so I don't get any money for that. But at the time that I did those, I'm not the person that I am now. I mean, I've the past maybe 10 years or so, I've really grown up and found out who Buddy Greco is and where I'm going in my life. And just what this wonderful business means to me, and I've changed. I've really calmed down. I had a very reputation as being quite volatile at times.
Is that right?
Yeah, I had a terrible temper.
Well, I think that sort of goes in hand in hand with musicians.
I think so, yeah.
And it seems to me, from my experience of jazz musicians over many years, that they have a slightly different attitude towards life to most other people, and also to other types of musicians.
Right.
Because jazz is a very cerebral thing, and I think a lot of people don't realise that there is a lot more musically to jazz, to the structure of jazz, than simply hitting notes in sequence.
Oh, absolutely, because jazz is an art form that is within yourself. I mean, you can't put down a piece of music unless that's what you want to do. But if you find a piece of music that you like and then you start improvising, that comes from your heart and your soul and your mind.
Yes.
And musicians, we're kind of different kind of people, you know.
Yeah, I know. I read that you've embraced Christianity as well.
Well, what has happened is that we have a church in Las Vegas called the First Church of Religious Science. It's not Scientology, it's just the First Church of Religious Science. And it's more or less, Chris, it's not a religion, it's a philosophy.
Right.
And I've embraced it, and Leslie has introduced me to it. And I mean, I'm still the same guy that I was before. You know, I'm not a.
But you've embraced Christian principles rather than a formalized religion.
Exactly. It's more or less being a nice person, and these are whole new things for me. You know, because as I said, I was a hothead and things like that. But my whole values have changed now, and it's made me a better person. Yes. And it's just a wonderful philosophy, and I embrace it a lot.
That's great. Congratulations, Buddy. It's been a great pleasure to talk to you. I look forward to playing golf with you one day.
You got it. You got to give me some shots. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Buddy. Okay.
Okay.
Actually.
Why, it's only a paper moon shining over a cardboard sea. But I wouldn't be make-believe if you believe in me. Why, it's only a canvas sky shining over a muslin sea. But I wouldn't be make-believe if you believe in me. Now without your love, it's a honky-tonk parade. Without your love, it's a melody played on a penny arcade. It's a Barnum and Bailey world, just as phony as it can be. But I wouldn't be make-believe if you believe in me. if you believe in me, why, if you believe in me.